Hey guys, what's up? It's me again. Okay, so there's quite a few questions that have been going back and forth on the boards regarding whole grain breads versus whole wheat breads, and what to do when Ezekiel breads or rye breads, if they're just not available or if we can't tolerate them well. And so a question actually came in from Angela, and she says there's a debate on the board as to whether or not you can eat whole grain breads when you can't tolerate rye or can't find Ezekiel bread in your area. I know Ezekiel bread, it's as popular as it's getting. There's still a lot of places where you still can't get it. So when you can't, what do you do? Now, one person said we cannot substitute it because it's full of sugar and fat and that it's not on the list. But isn't it a healthier alternative than other breads? For example, white bread. Can you please address this? And because many of us here in the United States and the UK have no local access to Ezekiel, and me personally, I cannot tolerate rye bread. All right, well, Angela, you and I have something in common because I can't tolerate rye bread either. Number one, I don't like it very much. And number two, it has gluten in it, and I'm gluten sensitive. So I'm really glad that we're talking about this, and I'd like to address a couple of things. First and foremost, the other breads like white bread and wheat bread, they actually don't have large amounts of sugar and fat. In fact, they have next to nothing when it comes to sugar and fat. However, why are they not on the list? That's the question of the day. Why are white breads and regular wheat breads, like wheat flour breads, why are they not on the list? Well, essentially because our body can still break them down very, very quickly. In the process of making white bread and whole wheat bread, they're all made from whole wheat flour, or wheat flour. And what happens in the process is that a lot of the fiber is actually stripped out of the bread. And when that happens, fiber's awesome because it's like brakes on our food when it goes into our system. The slower we can digest the food, the slower it's going to get released in our bloodstream, and we're going to blunt what we call that insulin response. However, when the breads are just made of flours, either bleached flour like white bread or unbleached, a whole wheat flour, essentially our body's going to break it down very quickly because it doesn't have the fiber to slow it down. So it spikes our blood sugar levels, and when the spike happens, we get that big insulin response, and our body wants to store it as fat. So, long story short, quick answer to your question, yes, whole grain breads are a wonderful, wonderful substitute if you can't find Ezekiel breads. And I actually brought a couple different examples of some whole grain breads that I found at the supermarket just as of today. So this is actually made from the same company that does Ezekiel bread, but it's just 7 sprouted grains. There's a bunch of different sprouted grain breads. You can do five grain bread. You got 7, you got 11 grain bread, 9 grain bread, all these different whole grain breads that are absolutely fantastic, and they've got a lot more fiber in there. On top of that, same company that also does Ezekiel, but they've also got these 7 sprouted English muffins, which are fantastic as well. Now, for those of us who are gluten sensitive, there's a few foods that actually we don't see on the list quite so much. However, there's all these different substitutes that we can't throw in there. Now, me being gluten sensitive, I have to eat gluten-free, wheat-free. These are gluten-free, wheat-free tortillas here. These are brown rice tortillas. Believe it or not, they are the tastiest things in the world. I absolutely love these things. Brown rice tortillas, they are still high in fiber. It still takes a long time for the body to break them down and release them into the bloodstream. Plus, the consistency of these things are amazing for breakfast burritos. Just saying, so heads up for those. And then on top of that, we've got gluten-free. These are some gluten-free English muffins. Now, keep in mind that some of these you're not going to be able to find them at your local store. However, just keep searching around. Usually you're going to find most of these whole grain breads. Typically you can find them at your local store or at your local health food store. But if you can't find the Ezekiel breads, or you can't tolerate rye breads, keep in mind that there are a ton of other substitutes. Just make sure that they are whole grain, and when you are looking at them, look at those nutrition facts on the back. Make sure that the dietary fiber, that you got plenty of dietary fiber in there, and then you're going to be good to go. All right, guys. So hopefully that answers some of your questions and clears things up for you. All right, guys. So get out there and enjoy your breads, your tortillas, and your English muffins, but make sure that they're whole grain. All right, guys. See you next time.